everyone, have I got a book review for you. Wow, that just sounded weird, but I'm gonna keep going because I do have a book review. I just finished Bloodlust by Duval, book 1 in the Vampire Beach series. If you haven't guessed it's a vampire series, it's a vampire series. It's about vampires, and these vampires are a little different than your average vampire. I think every vampire book, everyone has, like, it's always different, but there are, like, underlining commonalities, like a lot of underlining commonalities, but there are some things that people just change the slightest bit. But, you know, like, we're not going to talk about the Twilight stuff because that's just, I don't categorize them as actual vampires. They're just no. But to get to Bloodlust, this is a 2-book bind-up right here. So we have Bloodlust, the first book, right here. Bloodlust, right here. It was, I like this. It's an uncommon way to introduce a world in which you're making an entire series. This is a book, wow, can I not talk? This is a quartet book, so there's 4 books in this series, as a quartet means. And it is quite the interesting take on vampires and the whole vampire type thing. This whole like this entire thing. But this book, the book that I read, Bloodlust, it's a very good one. It's very fast paced. It goes by very fast. Like, when you're, like, the whole situation that you read, like, it encompasses, like, literally 2 weeks that you read. You read, like, 2 weeks worth, though I think it actually goes by, like, a month. Like, I think the entirety length of the book is a month, but you read, like, what you're reading is worth it. There goes my dad, if you can't hear all that moaning and groaning. He needs a shower. And, like, he just got off of work. He works Sundays. But anyway, it feels more like you have a month's worth of stuff rushed into a 2-week span, because that's the time frame that you read. So, like, the beginning of it, it goes by, like, that first week of when he starts. And then it does, like, another roughly week. And then we have, like, so it's about 3 weeks that we have in total, but I think it's more like a month, so like 4 weeks worth. And it reads by very fast. So it took me, I can't remember how long it actually took me. It's the general plot in here is very fast, but it's good. It's quite good. And you don't even notice how fast it's going unless you actually are noticing the time and, like, the day of how many days you read it. I think it's like 2 days I read it, because I didn't really read much of it. I read maybe like 2 chapters yesterday because I knew it was, like, at the end. And then I had read the last 4 chapters today. So it's the actual plot of the story, like the storyline that you read, is quite fast. It reads quite fast, and then you're actually reading, like, physically reading in the amount of days you're reading it, or time frame you read it. It's quite fast as well. But it's an enjoyable fast, and I don't know how you could prolong it unless you read 1 chapter per day, and they're relatively shortish chapters. And if you read 1 chapter a day, it's 18 days that you would read this, which would be ridiculous to read. Just, yeah. But anyway, it's very good. The characters are all very good. And the writing style is very good as well. It is, thank you, phone, you Pikachu. I will get to that because Manny texted me, and I also have a bunch of stuff that my game is telling me about. But anyway, to get to the writing style, it is in 3rd person, but it's first person point of view. So it's read in a way that you have a narrator, but it's literally always just focusing on your main character, who is Jason Freeman. But you it's not in a way where it's not first person, it is third first person. So I'll read a little bit so that you maybe understand what I'm saying. I'll just read the first page. Malibu. Jason Freeman took a deep breath of the fresh California air. He lived in Malibu now. This was him. Driving his VW Beetle down the Pacific Coast Highway. The thought was as blinding as the sun on the ocean, as dazzling as the white sand stretching out alongside the car. Right alongside the car. He could pull over and be down there in, how insane is that house? Jason reluctantly dragged his gaze away from the Malibu and glanced at the house his sister Danielle was pointing to. She pulled her glasses down for a better look, and her gray eyes were wide with curiosity. It has a tennis court, she declared, and I bet that glass dome is for an indoor pool. They don't let you see much, do they? All those trellises and flowers. Danny glanced over her shoulder as they drove by, trying to eye TiVo every detail. That new job of Dad's, the unpass-by-able job, the one I had to leave all my friends for, it pays $1 gazillion. Why aren't we living in a place like that? So, wow, that was all dark when I had it up here. So dark. But anyway, you kind of get it. So it's read like that. It's, as I said, it's my best description of it is third first person, because we're always following Jason, but we have like, hold on. Where can I have another one? Yeah. This is the first book where I've read a third first person point of view. Usually if you have a third person point of view, it's usually you get the point of views of like, sort of either you get everyone, or if it's, a romance novel, that's where most of the time I read that, of third person, as I'm saying. In third person, either you get an overview of everyone, so you literally get everyone's sort of like thoughts and feelings and how they're feeling generally, or you get a third person where you get the third person's point of view of the two protagonists of the story, which is like your lead characters, like your female and male people that, end up together. You usually get their sort of third person point of views. Or else, you get everyone's point of view. But this one, it's literally a third first person point of view, as I keep saying. And it's interesting. This is the first and only book that I've read that someone has written like this. Because most of the time you get you either get third person or first person point of view. And sometimes I've read first person point of view, which is ridiculous. Like the last book I read, which is ridiculous. But this is, I like it. And you come to like I find you will come to like Jason very well. I've always really liked Jason in this story. Everyone else in the first book, you kind of get, oh, I kind of like that character. Oh, I kind of like that character. They're an okay character. Oh, that's an interesting character. But I don't find I've fully invested myself in all the characters other than Jason and maybe Adam, because Adam is the first person he makes friends with, really, in the book. And you get, like, really invested in Jason, and you really like Jason, or at least you should. I find I really like Jason when I read it. Even when he does, like, sort of not so, like, you lost some bad cool points there, or you lost so many brownie points with that girl there that you're crushing madly on. But he makes up for it. Everyone else, like, there's a girl named Sienna, there's a character, Brad, Dominic, some kid's last name is Van Dyke. Like, there's a bunch of characters that become, like, the core group of characters that you will read and become friends with Jason and all that. But I don't feel I fully invest in the characters until like the second book, which is Initiation, and basically throughout the other 2 books after this one, these ones. But you do generally like them. There's no one that you really hate. There's no one that you really hate in this book, I find. There's no one you hate. But it's as a first book, it's a good, very generally good first book. It gets better, and the stakes start getting a little higher. Like, there, as it says, there's a dead body in this book, and that's like, wow. And the whole mystery of finding out the vampires, and the whole how this dead body came about. It's a good little good little mystery added in here. But the most mystery that is in here is like Jason coming into the world of like these vampires and like figuring out how these vampires work, because they I will say they do still drink blood, but there are other things that you find out in this book that are not generally normal vampires. No, your typical normal vampire, but these still feel like normal vampires, other than a few very minor tweakings with them in here. So I would recommend it. It's a good teen book, and I find if you are a vampire lover, you would enjoy this. It's not like hardcore Anne Rice type of vampire book. It is a teen book, and it's not like a very heavy vampire, like urban fantasy. It's not even urban fantasy. I find it's way too YA to be urban fantasy, because like the only thing I can think of is blah, 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 blah. Cassandra Clare's books. I can't remember what they are, but her books. Those are very heavy urban fantasy. This is very, very YA with like a good splashing of paranormal. That's what it is. This is because vampires are under the category of paranormal books. So this is a very, as I keep repeating, very YA book with a good sprinkling of paranormal, but it's not at all heavy on the paranormal. The paranormal, I think, it's been a while since I've read this book series, but I think the paranormal really starts coming up in the other 3 books. But I definitely would recommend this book. It is good. It's an interesting book, and if you like interesting books, I'd say read this, especially for the first person point of view, because that's always an interesting way to read a book. And yeah, and it's a very good book. I very much enjoy it, and I'm keeping. This is a very good keep book. I love it. It's good. It's good, and that's really all I gotta say. The characters are quite good, and I find I really only invested myself in Jason, as I really like his character. But I find as the other books you read, the characters get better, and the whole situation that Jason is going through gets a whole lot better. I can't remember how it gets better, but I know it gets better. But anyway, my next book is Initiation, of my own personal books, is Initiation by Alex Duval. It is book 2, not 3, book 2 in the Vampire Beach saga. We're gonna call it, it's called a saga, but the quartet. It's only 4 books, so I'm gonna be reading book 2 sometime later, because I will be reading the interlibrary loan that has come in at the library, which I'm gonna pick up tomorrow. And I'm going to do, I'm gonna add it to this video, but I will make the video tomorrow because that's when I'm gonna pick it up. And yeah, I live! So it's the next day, and I have this book. This is my next book, Simmer All Night by Geraldine Dawson. Now, this does not seem like it's supposed to be part of this Bad Luck Wedding series, because I've read 2 pages. I've read 2 pages That's all I've read, 2 pages. And it doesn't seem like it's not even set in the same town. It's set in San Antonio, Texas. The year's the same. It's still the 1800s, like the late 1800s. But I don't think it's the same year. I think it's a few years earlier, I think. Because I think the previous 2 books, like the actual Bad Luck Wedding thing, were set in 1887. So, like roughly that time age. But I haven't read the back. I wanted to because, you know, all that such. It's talking a lot about stuff that doesn't make sense. And apparently it's supposed to be part of the series. I'm going to be looking again. I'm going to look on Goodreads because I have something else that has a list of them. And it's just not making sense that this is going to be there. But I'm going to read it. I did start reading it. I'm going to read the back now. A Chile queen in England. Independent daughter of socially prominent Texans, Kristina Delaney. Okay, good. We've got the characters that I thought were supposed to be in it is going to be in it. Well, the girl. I already know the guy that I'm going to be reading about, but I wasn't sure about the girl. Kristina Delaney stirs up scandal along with her spicy Texas Red when she's crowned Chili Queen of San Antonio. Her family reacts to this culinary coronation by packing her off to live with her grandfather on his English estate, hoping to transform Chrissy from Chili Queen to Countess. Never mind the fact that what she longs for is a modest home and loving family deep in the heart of Texas. A Texan with a craving. Born British but reared Texan, Cole Morgan would do anything for the Delaney family, even escort the incorrigible Kristina to England. Besides, he has his own agenda abroad to locate the missing copy of the Republic of Texas's Declaration of Independence. Oh my god, saying the Republic of Texas's But when a viscount offers Kristina marriage, Cole is forced to see that the girl he grew up with is now a woman whose fiery passion and love he craves. So he sets out to win her, and in the process proves that only he can make the Chili Queen simmer all night. So, alright, we're not even going to be staying in Texas. Not the fact that, you know, we're not even in Fort Worth, because the first 2 books were in Fort Worth. Now we're starting in San Antonio. And then moving to England, so I don't know. I'm gonna read it. It's somewhat interesting, this story, like this whole thing going on. Like the whole, and look, we get a lovely picture with this one. I am a sucker for these books, especially when they have artwork like this. I love it. And look, I didn't even know what that was, but that's Chili there. It's Chili. And this is coming apart. Sammy, that's lovely. And I think it's somewhere from Fillmore. The library is called Southeast Regional Library, so. And then there's a stamp here. We're gonna focus. Can we focus, please? Focus. We're gonna focus. There we go. It says Fillmore. You know, see that stamp right there in the blue? It says Fillmore. So, I don't know. This should be an interesting read, and I'm going to find like it says right there, author of the Bad Luck Wedding Cake. But it's not even a part of, like, the actual series. Like, there's only one more that's called The Bad Luck Wedding something, and it's The Bad Luck Wedding Night. And I don't even know how my book is supposed to be a part of the series. Because, like, her bodyguard, her outlaw, mine is her scoundrel. Like, those 3 make sense together. So, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to figure it out. Because I'm probably going to end up reading all of them. Just because, like, I started reading the Bad Luck Wedding thing. And now I have Simmer All Night. I might as well read Simmer All sizzle all day, and I'm gonna have her bodyguard and her outlaw more than makes sense to be part of that. So, yeah. I don't know what's going on. So, if you liked my little weird, I've had a hard time trying to review this, but I would recommend this book for any YA readers in particular. If you love reading YA, you should definitely read Bloodlust or Vampire Beach in general. You should definitely read it. And also, if you like the paranormal and, you know, vampires, I would recommend it because it's an interesting take. It is a very interesting take. It's not a very high leap from normal vampires, so you should definitely read it. I'm recommending it. And if you like interesting readings, I'd say the fact that it's, in my description, a third first person point of view, totally read that because it's not a traditional third person point of view, and it's not a traditional first person point of view. It's a combination of the two, which I like. You never get into the mind of other characters besides Jason, but like, it's just good, okay? It's a good little sort of like chick lit read. A good teen chick lit read. So, anyway, yeah. That's my recommendation. And I'm sorry if it was weird. I don't know why it was hard to, you know, review this. I have read this before. It's been a little while since I've read it, but I have read it and I've very much enjoyed it, and I don't know how or why. It's very weird when it's been a long while since I read it, but I feel this was a very weirdly done book review. But if you did like my book review, hit that like button down below to let me know. And if you have read Vampire Beach, let me know how you liked it down below in comments. And if you have read any third first person point of view books, you can let me know any recommendations for those type of books, because I feel this is the only book series, like Alex Duval is the only one who has written anything like it. So let me know in the comments down below. And yes, I've got flappy arms. And just don't be negative and don't be nasty in the comments, because we don't need it in the world. And if this is the first time you're watching my video, please hit that big red subscribe button down there by my picture for more book reviews, hauls, unboxing, unbagging, because something's coming, a bubble wrap manila envelope or a plastic bag wrapped thingy. And I'm sorry if I do this, like, you know, give you the middle finger. I'm sorry, but, you know, yeah. Vlogmas, random vlogs, and random videos. I have no idea where to categorize. Alright, so I'm gonna go continue watching Sailor Moon now without interruptions, because I'm not gonna start initiation, because, yeah. So yes, I hope you liked my video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye everyone.